Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Twin Peaks Season 1, Episode 3. It's called Zen, or The Skill to Catch a Kill. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. well,
This one got a little weird.
I believe this is where most people who want a normal murder mystery show
Turn
jump
off.
out. Yeah. This is where they go, this jumped the shark, I'm leaving, I'm never coming back.
I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, I did enjoy this, but I can understand why people may do that if this is, because this is a bit more out there than the previous couple of episodes. You kind of get led to believe what you're in for, and then this, I can see why people turned out.
Yeah, I was into it though.
Oh, I was too. Don't get me wrong, but I can understand.
Yeah, this episode had lots of great things. And introduced the first thing that happened in the episode, of course, is it introduced the brother of Benjamin Horne, Jerry. Brothers named Ben and Jerry. I just want to let that sink in for a minute. Oh, do you know what's funny though? Is I didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize it until Ben actually said it out loud. Like, because he says, "Oh, let's go to the One-Eyed Jack place." Like, "Oh, Ben and Jerry together again." I'm like, Ben and Jerry.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, it's funny. That's good stuff.
It is. It is.
That said, though, there's lots of stuff I love about that scene, that introduction scene. After the opening titles, we come and the rest of the credits play out over the screen, and the entire time it's just the family sitting there. It's Benjamin, his wife, Audrey sitting there, Audrey's brother. They're all sitting having dinner, and it's just them quietly eating in silence for a good minute.
I think it says it all that the credits continue to play over it. Like, you don't really need to be watching this. Like, it's just there just to show you how long they're sat in silence.
Yeah, it has its point, and then of course it makes Jerry's like extravagant entrance where he's got like 3 helpers and he's like constantly talking. It just accents that whole thing because it's all silent, and then he comes barging in with all his noise.
Yes, and his sandwiches.
Yeah, and he says, "There's a sandwich in one of these bags. We're opening everything until we find it." Was the line. And then he pulls out some baguettes. He hands one to his brother, who
eats it very weirdly.
He eats it from the side, which is a really weird way.
I've never seen anyone eat a baguette like that before.
And then Jerry starts eating one too, and they both start having a conversation where you can't understand a word they're saying because their mouth is full of sandwich.
You get the impression that they're going, "Oh, this is a real good sandwich."
Yeah, I could make out that it reminded them of a girl they knew in their past.
Yeah,
I got that much. But I'm reading between the lines. Well, I say the lines. I'm reading between the mouthfuls.
Yeah.
So
yeah, pretty much.
So that was the opening, and they introduce us to One-Eyed Jacks, and they go together to this casino, which we find out later in the episode is actually across the Canadian border, and it's a brothel, it's a whorehouse. They go in, and the madam gives them the choice, and they want the new girl, and they toss a coin to see who gets her, and Ben wins. So Ben has first go. He had dibs.
Coin toss is fair, right? Can you think of a fairer way?
Fight to the death? I don't know.
Okay, a fair and civilized way.
Yeah, because when you go to a brothel, you're thinking civilized.
They're still brothers.
I do love Jerry though. Jerry's David E. Kelly plays Jerry, and I know him mostly from Commando, the Schwarzenegger movie. But I actually really like that actor. He's got a really over the top personality that I love about him.
Yeah, he's got that zany presence.
Yeah. He lights up the room when he walks in. So I like that a lot. So I'll obviously let's go to Cooper then and talk about the case and the developments we have in here. First of all, there was more donuts. Table of donuts were laid out. I like that Lucy set all this up. She had the portable coffee, pot, and she had the table with all the donuts. They brought a blackboard, chalk. They had a whole setup out in the
I
woods.
really need to start investing in some donuts when I'm going to watch this.
I know.
I just want donuts.
And we're like, okay, why are we here? I assume they're near the crime scene or something. Turns out they're not near they may be near it, but that's not why they're there. They could be anywhere, because the whole point of what they're here for is Cooper explains that he once had a dream. Because he flips the blackboard over and it's like, alright, so I once had this dream and it really made me think about Tibet.
Yeah, he starts talking about how Tibet was taken over by China and it's a revolution. The Dalai Lama had to run away.
Flee to India, where he currently resides. And It's like, okay. And, you know, we've got Sheriff, we've got Lucy, we've got Hawk, and we've got Andy all just sitting there, all just, like, cold, you know.
Going, okay, what's the point here?
And he gives them all jobs. And it basically boils down to this. We know from the diary entry that Laura was meeting someone who she referred to as J.
Yeah.
The letter J. Turns out every single character on this show has a J, either the first or last name is the first letter.
There's a lot of J's.
Yeah, because when they started listing them, which don't get me wrong, it was for a show with this many characters, and we've spoken in the last episodes how there's so many characters, and us learning the names is tough. It was actually really helpful that they did this thing where he's like James, and it cut to a shot of James, and it's like he's this guy. He had this relationship with Laura.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is actually quite handy. It's going over the information, making us aware of it all. But what this all boils down to is that he's going to throw a rock after each name is said at a ball that's, what, 60 feet away, he said?
Something like that, yeah.
It was like 60 feet and 6 inches, I believe is the exact measurement.
Yeah.
So he specified that. He's made Harry measure that out exactly. And he starts throwing rocks after each name. And if he hits the ball, they gets a check next to the name, which means it's a person of interest.
Yeah.
And at one point he also hits it but doesn't smash. And that means... Well, it means person of interest, but note that it didn't smash. It wasn't a full hit. It was a...
Yeah, it was a partial.
Yeah. So when he hits it for Leo, it smashes. Right? Obvious choice, because we're suspecting him at this point. He's the obvious, you know, troublemaker. And who is it that it hits and it doesn't smash?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to picture the board in my mind.
Oh god, there's too many people on the board.
Do you know what? This made me realise how this show breaks the typical writing rule of you have one character with a letter for their name and that's it, and then maybe run in families.
Oh, Lynch does what he wants.
Yeah, but obviously I like it here because it serves a purpose of, the J itself is part of the mystery. So it's like there's got to be a lot of them, otherwise...
Oh yeah, it wouldn't work if there was only one person with a name with J.
Yeah. But it's just another reason why we're struggling to remember all of them, because there's so many, because it breaks that rule of which we're so conditioned to.
Jacoby. It was Dr. Jacoby. That's who it was.
There we go. Got there.
So it hit the bottle but didn't smash for him. That's important. And obviously we know he's of interest because we've seen him, he's got the necklace, so he's clearly connected to what's going on.
Yeah.
There's intrigue there. But, so this whole thing, all I could think was, because at one point the Sheriff Truman, like, pulls Cooper, says like, hey, just come over here a sec. So we're doing this because you had this idea in a dream. Just to clarify. He's like, yes.
Yeah.
Really enthusiastic.
I do find it interesting. Obviously, we're supposed to go along with it for all intents and purposes. And it gets Leo. But they even specify, as far as they know, there is no connection between Leo and Laura. Like, it's the only one they couldn't connect.
And yet, smash.
Yeah. So, what's going on there?
Look at us talking about it as if it actually means something. Which it does because it's in a Lynch show, but it wouldn't actually mean anything.
Exactly. But like they said, we have to just assume that we have to take it at face value. This means something.
Well, we know he's sketchy. We know that as the audience, so it's easier to connect the dot for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we know about the shirt with the blood. We know that he beats up Shelley. Like, you know, there's legitimate evidence for us.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
So, yeah. But yeah, so we get this whole thing. We get all our FBI guys. It's amazing. Albert, thank you. It's amazing I forgot his name because they said it like 5 goddamn times, which is really funny because he seemed like annoyed that Lucy was taking a long time. And I'm like, you ain't seen nothing. She takes way longer usually. This is lightning fast for Lucy. Who's played by Miguel Ferrer, who died this week, unfortunately, which is a weird bit of timing that we just happened to be starting the show.
Yeah.
When he passed away, he's 61 years old. That's a shame. I knew him mainly from RoboCop, but obviously he popped up in a lot of stuff. He was in a Tales from the Crypt that me and Tim watched a few weeks ago as well, actually.
How odd that all that happened at once, then.
Yeah, it's weird how all this stuff lines up. So that's a shame. I like him. He's a good actor. But he's his typical asshole role. That's what he played, usually. And he's an asshole to the sheriff. He talks about how this is the ass end of nowhere, and the autopsy that was done was amateur hour, I believe is the phrase. So him and his men are going to go do their own autopsy, and it's an all-nighter, guys, is the phrase. I do think this one was easier to keep track of everything that went on, because it was less stuff with bigger scenes about it.
Yeah, this was the first time where I feel like it focused in on a couple of things rather than going through snapshots of everything.
That said, there were still a couple of characters where they had one scene.
There was, but it was far less than the previous couple.
Yeah. So we had that come in, and of course, I guess if we're talking about the case, we mentioned that Cooper gets the note under his door. Who gave him the note that said Jack with one eye was how it was written on the note? But of course, when he mentions that to the sheriff, he's like, well, no, there's a casino north of the border called One Eye Jack's. That must be what it means. So obviously we're going to go have them check that out, which is actually something where I noticed, like, oh, this is a little bit slower paced in terms of the case.
Yeah.
You know, like, they're really taking their time and, like, oh, here's a couple of things that happen in this episode with the case, but we're not rushing to investigate what we... Because a lot of TV shows, you introduce One Eye Jacks at the start, the cops would be there by the end of the episode, or something else would happen there by the end of the episode.
Yeah, typically that would be your format. Introduce, resolve, and then next episode would be a new clue.
Yeah. But this show, of course, is against the beaten path.
Yeah, it plays by its own rules. We just don't know quite what those rules are yet.
Yeah. So instead of getting that, obviously we'll get that probably next episode, I imagine.
Yeah.
Instead of getting that, we have... So we set up the idea of the dream and the Tibet and all that. We get... The ending of the episode is Cooper going to sleep, and it's actually a good, like, 8 minutes before the episode ends, because I was curious. I went back and checked. I wanted to know how long the end of the episode was, that chunk. Cooper goes to sleep. And it was funny, because throughout the episode I was thinking, oh, are we going to see the weird guy who was next to the chair in the last, that Laura's mum spotted?
Yeah.
And obviously One-Armed Man came up in the last episode, who Cooper's found out about. He's
yeah,
interested
they referenced that he was investigating.
Yeah, Hawk mentions it. And so he goes to sleep. And the One-Armed Man comes on the screen. And there's quick flashes of other stuff. We see Cooper's got old age makeup on, he's in a red room, but we cut away from that at first. We see that for a second, and we go to the One-Armed Man, who gives a monologue, which seemed to be a poem. And we also see that he seems to be... He refers to him and the creepy man, the man that Laura's mum's seen. Like, we see him as well. And it's funny, because I noticed that they refer to this as the other place, and I was like, I was getting an alternate universe vibe from this.
Yeah, it was very unreal.
Yeah, otherworldly. And especially when we get to the next part of it, when we see what looks like Laura, all made up, she's got a dress on, and she's looking all fancy. And when he asks, like, are you Laura? You're Laura, right? She says, I feel like Laura. Well, I say she says that. She says it in a weird way. We'll talk about how they speak in a minute.
Yeah.
But, like, so everything about it was like, this feels like another universe. It feels like he's getting a message from another universe, almost as if Laura from Earth 2, we'll call it, is trying to help catch the killer of Laura from Earth 1.
Yeah. I mean, I believe the exact thing she says is, it's not I feel like her, it's I feel like I know her, but sometimes my arms bend back. Which is much weirder than I feel like I'm her.
I want to read you what the One-Armed Man said, because I feel
Please,
like,
let's start there. Yeah,
because he had a whole thing, and I actually made a point of finding it online and getting the whole shebang of it, because I feel like it's important, and I want to try and, if we can pick this apart, we will pick it apart. So he says, through the darkness of futures past, the magician longs to see one chance out between two worlds. Fire, walk with me. Fire, walk with me, of course, the note that was found at the crime scene. We lived among the people. I think you say convenience store. We lived above it. I mean, it's like it sounds. And there is a pause there. I didn't just say it wrong. There's like a pause in there. I too have been touched by the devilish one. Tattoo on the left shoulder. Oh, but when I saw the face of God, I was changed. I took the entire arm off. My name is Mike. Or he's... it goes to the long-haired guy, and my name is Mike. And then One-Armed Man is Bob. He says, my name is Bob. That's how it ends. They each say their name. So we have two Mikes now, by the way, because Mike is also the name of Bobby's friend. Yes.
So they're the same people, right?
No, I wasn't getting that.
Mike and Bob. Mike and Bobby.
Oh, right, yeah, you're right. Bob. Oh.
Yeah, there we go.
Bobby. I don't know what to make of that.
I've just thrown you, haven't I? Sorry.
So is it older Mike and Bobby from the future from another world?
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, you've got more to go on than me. You've seen further. But what else could we go on other than the names? And like you say, they're the same names. Why else would you give characters the same names?
I love
It's
that.
such a weird thing to do.
I love that I noticed that Mike was the same name, but I didn't connect Bob. That's
Yeah,
kinda
because
funny.
it's not Bobby, so he's shorter.
Yeah, I just didn't click. All right, that's really thrown me for a loop. Hold on, right? Oh,
Sorry.
Jesus.
That just changed everything for you, didn't it?
But here's the thing, though. One-armed man, who is Bob, was in our world. We've seen him. Like, we could argue that Mike was never really there. That was just,
Yeah, but
because it was just a vision that Laura's mum had. So you could argue that she's seen a connection to this other world, just like Cooper is.
could Hawk have seen Bob? Could it have been a similar thing?
Oh, where he just sort of thought he'd seen it.
Yeah, because did anyone else see the one-armed man?
It's a fair point. I don't think anyone actually did. And the way he also kind of disappeared, like he couldn't follow him.
Yeah, he said, "Oh, he
Yeah.
lost him."
No, so that's a fair point.
And obviously, we mentioned you had Cooper in old age makeup,
Uh-huh.
so that would imply future.
True. Is he seen into his own future? Or is that even him? Is he just witnessing the alternate version of him as a third person observer?
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, we know it's called the other place, another place. Sorry.
Yeah.
So another place. I'm inclined to think future now.
Just straight
'Cause
future.
they're certainly I don't know if it's straight our future, but at least some form of the future, because they're certainly older at least.
But Laura's there too.
But Laura's there too.
Which is why I'm thinking alternate. Well, I'm thinking alternate world, especially because of how they speak. Now, I always remember hearing that they said that they spoke backwards, but it's not. I think they maybe recorded it backwards and then they're playing it forward.
I think what they've done is there's certain words that are backwards and like played over the forward speaking.
Because you can always kind of hear it, because they've got subtitles, which, good, we needed them.
But you can always understand it if you listen.
Yeah, you can always make out the words going in the right order, so there's a weird thing
It
where...
feels like what they've done is it speaks forward, but then they've flipped it and played it backwards over the top, but quieter.
Right, okay.
That's kind of what's given it that effect of like stuttering, because you're hitting the things at different times.
Which is why I'm even thinking alternate world, and maybe that's just my knowledge that I'm bringing from stuff like The Flash and other...
Mirror.
Well, not even mirror, I'm thinking all different frequency. Like, it's out of sync, and it's
Yeah.
it's like off because of that.
Yeah. Oh man, this opened up so much.
Yeah, did you imagine watching episode 1 that we'd be talking about alternate universes in 2 episodes' time?
I would not. I mean, I knew it got weird, but I didn't expect all the... And this is all inside a dream as well, which has to be
It's
kinda
also
established.
all inside a dream, which...
But we have to go with the idea that his dreams mean something based off earlier in the episode, where he told us that whole story.
And also, we know that it can't, like... Because someone else saw one-armed man, Hawk's seen him, Laura's mother's seen the other guy, Mike. Like, so, we know it's just not stuff he's making up. Other people have seen these things.
Yeah.
So that they come from somewhere.
And like, I could think the one-armed man, he got told about that, but he hasn't been told about Mike.
That is true, he's not been told about him.
So, like, he can't be projecting that himself. He has no knowledge of that.
Yeah, exactly. So it feels like he's getting a message in his dream from an alternate world that's where it's like in the future as well, so everyone's a bit older.
Yeah. I have no idea what's going on. I'm in for the ride, I can tell you that. So what was the start of the poem again? Let's go back to that.
Start of the poem. Through the darkness of futures past, the magician longs to see one chance out between two worlds. There you go, two worlds.
Two worlds, and darkness of futures past implies timelines to me.
Yeah, darkness of futures past. So yeah, so the future's past is dark. So they're in the future, they look back, it's a dark past to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that kind of ties in. So maybe that's why they're trying to help. They're trying to make things better.
Yeah.
We're going off the deep end with this one.
Yeah.
Fire, walk with me. To me, all that fire walk with me keeps coming back, and it's the name of the movie that we eventually get at the end.
It's also just I know Lynch said it's the most important thing to do with the new show as well.
Interesting.
Is the movie in general.
Oh, the movie is the most important thing to do with the new show.
I believe so.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
But he talked about the phrase as well. So
yeah, but to me, at least trying to understand it right now. Fire walk with me. What that sounds like to me is saying go with the flow, with the danger to survive it. Like, you know, go in its stride rather than try to fight against the fire because you'll just burn. But if you try and... It's kind of like a controlled fire idea almost.
I'd agree, but it's if fire walk with me, not walk with fire.
So
it's
taking
the complete
control of it, maybe then?
reverse.
So you're commanding the fire, you're taking it into your control? Alright, okay, I'm seeing what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, we're going deep into this, but if you're going to go that deep, I feel like the syntax may be important.
Yeah, no, you're right. Especially since it's Lynch. And by the way, I think this is the first time you've ever sat and analysed a poem on on one of these shows. So that's congrats, Lynch. You've made it as doing something weird. Oh dear. The other part that really interests me is the idea that he took off his arm because...
Was it to do with God?
Yeah, it says, I too have been touched by the devilish one. Right. Tattoo on the left shoulder. But when I saw the face of God, I was changed. I took the entire arm off.
So he had to remove the devil's mark, essentially.
Yes. Which now that I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like, well, next time if we see like Bobby's arm, is he going to have a tattoo there that makes us go, oh wait a minute, that could be what he's talking about? Do you know what I think is? I think the first time I watched this season 1, and I've forgotten most of it to be fair, but I think not talking about it between each episode really hampered my because I feel like because we are really getting into this and we're really talking about and analysing it, I feel like I wasn't looking for the right things. Like, it's kind of like how today, like Mr. Robot, people who aren't engaging in the conversation aren't following a lot of the little things.
Yeah.
So things don't mean as much. I feel like I'm getting more out of it this time because I'm really getting into the conversation.
The nitty gritty, yeah. That's part of the enjoyment, though. I mean, you always talk about Lost as the perfect example of this for you, whereas it was so much better when you talked about it after each episode. Whereas if I just watched it straight through now, it wouldn't be anywhere near the same.
Which is why one day and already cancelled with Lost would be a fantastic idea. Because especially since I get to be all knowing and I know exactly where things, and I just get to laugh.
To be a smug bastard.
I get to just laugh at your crazy theories and.
At least we're starting on level footing where neither of us has any clue what on earth's going on.
Yeah, but I'm excited to do that one day. But no, fuck man, what a mind bender that last scene was. I feel like I got so much from it. Like I didn't even get the names being the same in Making Bob. That's even more interesting.
That's thrown a whole lot for you, like because you were clearly, you could see you'd had ideas like, oh maybe this is that, and then I said that, and you were like, shit, I need to rethink everything.
But the weird thing is, it doesn't go against what my ideas were. If anything, it just enforces them. I'm like, oh no, it is like an alternate world, and that is Laura from another universe, and this might even be Cooper from another universe. Like maybe Cooper in another universe also has this like extra connection, so that's why you can have dreams, because both Coopers are connecting.
Yeah,
like that's why you can have this, is because they both meet in the middle, kind of thing.
Potentially. I'm not going to speculate on how it's working just yet.
Oh, of course not. Of course, there's more to go into, and I feel like we'll never get straight answers in this. I feel like we'll get more clues, and we'll dive into things way more. And,
yeah, I agree.
So what else happened in this episode? Because there was obviously other bits.
There's when he wakes up as well.
Oh yeah, at the end, of course.
We have to talk about when he wakes up.
When he wakes up, well, actually, even before he wakes up, Laura, like the little guy, starts dancing. He starts, which by the way, him like walking across the room and dancing and that really weird dance to the music, or something. So, do you know what Lynch does really well? Which I feel like anyone who tries to imitate him always messes up. Is he knows how to do something that normally would feel like you're just wasting the audience's time, but the entire thing you're just kind of entranced by what's going on.
That is the exact word I was just going to go, entrancing.
Yeah.
But this in particular plays back to an earlier scene, which I think may be important.
Go on.
So you got the little man there dancing around Laura, right?
Mm-hmm.
Earlier on in the episode, you have Laura's father.
Dancing, yeah, you're right.
The picture going, she wants me to dance, we need to dance.
And not just her, actually, Audrey was dancing as well in a scene.
She was.
Because that was actually the other scene I was thinking of when I was talking about the awkward like moments. So instead of cutting between things, it'll let the awkwardness of the whole journey play out. And it was like Audrey coming in ordering coffee, and then Donna noticing it, and we see the entire walk up to the counter.
Yeah. And
they make small talk. And Audrey doesn't even take a single sip of her coffee. And she has these weird implications. But like, did Laura ever mention my father? She seems to suspect that her father had some sort of relationship with Laura. And then she's like, I really love this song, and she starts dancing a little bit in the diner.
Yeah, and it just kind of goes on for a while. Like the furthest we
Yeah.
cut away is just to the people looking at her.
Yeah. So again, Lynch can play with pacing in a way that almost anyone else. It's exactly what you do not do in a scene, because it will feel boring. It will feel like you don't know how to cut around something.
Yeah.
But he knows how to do it just right, just so it's on that weird, because there's such a tight line he has to walk on where you're noticing that this is a weird pacing, but you're not annoyed by it.
Yeah. It's gotta be so dead on. Like you've got maybe
Yeah.
like a few seconds of a window.
Yeah, but he does it every time. Another scene like that as well earlier on is when Bobby and Mike go into the woods and they're fetching the drugs, and Leo shows up. And Leo's got the gun, and again, the way he walks up and he makes all these threats and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Something I loved about that scene, actually. Again, just one of these small touches is he's got the flashlight and he's talking to Mike and Bob and he's making the threats, get me my money, blah 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 blah. And towards the end of the scene, he starts pointing the light to them, but the residual light is still on him, so he looks really red and demonic. Yeah. It's a simple little thing.
The devilish one, perhaps.
The devilish one, indeed.
Hmm. Because I mean, if we're going all in, we've got to go on the lighting as well.
Yeah,
that's clearly key, especially as the another place is kind of has that red tint to it with the where the little man is.
Yeah, and the whole room's red. Everything about it's red. Yeah.
Which is very devilish in itself. Like, I mean, that's the connotations we have with the color red.
Yeah. I've been touched by the devilish one. You're right. Red face. Now that I'm bringing it up, you've got a good point.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah. So Laura starts dancing as well, and she dances over to Cooper, and she kisses him, and then whispers something in his ear, which, just guessing from the next scene, you would imagine is the one who killed her. That's what he seems to think, because he wakes up and he phones the sheriff and says, I know who killed her. 2 points I want to make about this scene. One, he's got a bit of hair that's sticking up really straight, which was really funny. It's just one of those simple little amusing touches that you sometimes
the idea
get.
That he's just woke up sort of thing.
Yeah, but what's funny though is the rest of his hair's fine, but there's just this one bit of hair that's perfectly vertical.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's really funny is he's like, yeah, I know who killed Laura. Meet me at the restaurant here at the hotel in the morning. And there's a pause and he goes, yes, this can wait till morning.
Yeah.
Oh, that really cracked me up.
I agree.
Oh
man, this episode, like I was into the previous episodes, but this one's got me now. Like, well, like I said, I can see how other people may be turned off. This is the make or break episode, I think, where you're all in, or this is it. This is your stop.
I think if you like this episode, if you like the last 5-10 minutes of this, if you like that dream sequence, if you like everything that if it gets your brain going and you start thinking about the future and alternate universes and whatever, even the afterlife, maybe potentially. If you're starting to think all these things and you're excited by the possibilities, then I think you probably like the rest of the show. And I say that having not seen the rest of the show.
But it feels like this is what the show is.
Yeah. You're already down with the quirkiness, and now we're getting to the...
It's really ahead of its time.
It really is. Imagine watching this in 1990, 1991.
This is the sort of thing you could air today, and it would be not out of place. Barring a few small things here and there.
Yeah, but people would get into it. There'd be entire subreddits, and there would be people idiots on YouTube.
That poem would be analysed to hell on Reddit.
Yeah, idiots like us would be talking about it week to week. Oh, funnily enough, new season in May.
I know, because this is wonderful. I think there is a reason why it's coming back, though, because it fits in with today's TV sensibilities.
It really does feel like that, doesn't it? It feels like they've went, right, this didn't work back then, for at least in terms of like catching a large audience, because...
But now it really has a chance.
And it's a limited series, so we don't have to worry about it. It's a complete story, beginning to end, and...
Yeah.
There you go. Right, is there anything else? I went straight to dream sequence. I'm sure I've skipped
it's
over.
hard not to, isn't it?
Yeah, we got a bit more James at Donna's house. He finishes his pie up. They just have a bit of a smooch, and
yeah, we got a little bit more of Drape's lady with her silent drapes.
This is my favourite running joke, by the way.
It's amazing, isn't it?
So Ed gets covered in grease because obviously he works at he's a mechanic, and he comes in. He's burst something, so he's all covered in grease, and he's edging through the house, trying not to drip grease and things, and he steps on something, and you hear the crunch, and you see a shot of it, and before she reacted, I just seen the cotton balls, and I just started laughing because I knew who it was.
Yeah, you're like, oh no, she's gonna be pissed.
And she starts telling about her drape roller and how it was going to be the
silent
stuff.
rails.
Yeah, and oh god, it's so funny. And then he goes to the diner and he's talking to Norma, who's having an affair with, and he's like, oh yeah, she's set off again. You never know what it's going to be. Today it was this drapes thing. And she's like, yeah, I ran into her in the store last episode.
She didn't shut up about it.
Yeah, she wouldn't shut up about the drapes. And then he comes home though later in the episode. And she's like, oh, you never guess what it is, Ed. Some of that grease, it was all over the cotton balls, and I put them in the rails. Listen to this. And then there's like 10 seconds of silence as she just like puts them back and forth.
This is another one of those moments of that pacing where this, as a joke, could easily have thought this is going on too long, because she does it maybe like once, too many times, more than you'd expect. But it's just funny.
Yeah, and it's like silent. Oh, I love this running joke. Do we think
no log lady?
Yeah, no log lady. At least I could spot her anyway. Do you think there's some deep meaning behind the drapes that I'm not quite catching yet? I feel like there has to be.
That's the thing, but it also feels like a perfect red herring, doesn't it?
I can just imagine Lynch sitting. He's like, "Oh, they're going to read into this. They're going to think this means something."
I know,
and it's just something stupid that I thought would be funny.
That's exactly what I'm feeling it might be. Oh boy.
Oh, I love this show so much. There's so many weird things going on. Of course, we did actually tell you, this is weird that I'm saying this at the end of the video, but we did tell you that the next one will be coming around Tuesday time, and this is earlier than that because we ended up realising our weekend was kind of quiet, and we're going to be busy Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with shows on network TV, so we thought we'll put it up a bit early, we get it done, put it up on Sunday. Next one will probably be next Sunday, actually. It feels like Sunday will be the usual day.
Sunday will probably be its consistent day now.
Usual day for Twin Peaks. Of course, once we hit season 2, which won't be that long from now, we're going to be doing 2 a week, so it'll be doubled up by that point. So
yeah, and I believe, is it airing when it comes back? Is it airing on a Sunday?
It is, yeah. Sunday night's the night, so that works out nicely.
It does, doesn't it? You won't even have to readjust.
Yeah, so we'll try and time it so the movie, which will be the last thing we do before the new show, will be the Sunday before the new episode.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing to hit. We'll hit that so that it's just nice.
Yeah.
And we'll have a week to digest the old stuff before we start the new.
Yeah.
And of course, all the old timers who are big fans from way back when it first aired are like, "Oh, we had to wait 25 years, you bastards."
Yeah.
I did a really Scottish old man voice there. I
probably was. I'm not entirely sure why, but.
Well, it makes. I mean, I've got a Scottish accent, so it makes sense that when I do an old voice.
But it was like very stereotypical Scottish.
It was, yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the next episode now. This has got me. It's kind of scratching that Mr. Robot, that Westworld sort of itch where I want to just talk, I want to analyse.
Yeah, I've got stuff to really get into, so I don't want to hit 40 minutes, so stop this here. Yeah. We'll be back for the next one in a week's time. Yeah, should be next Sunday is the plan. But like I say, there's always a chance we will get bored and find we've got a bit of time in the middle that we can go, do you want to just do the next one just now? And
it happens more often than we care to admit.
Yeah, so it might happen. But next Sunday, at the very latest, you'll get episode 4 of Twin Peaks from us. So thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Don't let us know if we're right about things, if you've seen ahead, but by all means tell us if you enjoyed our ramblings and our speculation. I always like this because someone commented last week, I like seeing this like beginner's thoughts on the show from someone who's obviously seen the whole thing. So I do like hearing that kind of stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz. You can even email us, mailedfuzz@gmail.com. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. It helps us out a lot if you do. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.